What's up, crew? It is April 11th, 11:48 a.m. and I wanted just to share some perspective here that I believe is incredibly timely with the absolute chaos, uncertainty, and craziness that COVID-19 has brought to us. When our world is turned upside down, when any market, the financial market, the real estate market, when any market takes a dip, the market that does not take a dip is the relationship economy. It is usually exploding. And in the same way that there is this narrow window of time to invest in financial or real estate markets, there's also a very narrow window of time to invest in meaningful and important relationships, and that time is now. It's now. It's my belief that the same thought process that you would use when investing in stocks or businesses or real estate is exactly the same mindset and thought process that one could and should use when they approach their relationships. However, I think there's a few key distinctions here that I want to pin down in the hopes that they prove valuable to you. Number one, investments in relationships aren't made by writing checks, but by meaningfully connecting. Right now, there's a need for something more than a check-in, but a meaningful connection. In our society, some have more money, others have more resources, but we all have the same amount of time and energy at our disposal. And the value lies in where it's directed and where our time is invested. After getting 7, 8, or 6 or 5, however many hours of sleep, we all have the same waking minutes in a day. Yes, you and I need to eat, we need to drink, we need to earn a living, but by the end of the day, you get to choose what you allocate some of those remaining minutes of time to. Number two, invest at the dip. If I asked you to close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath in and think of a time when someone invested in you when you were at your lowest, when your self-doubt or your self-worth were incredibly low, or your pain was incredibly high, the trouble that you were in was deep and overwhelming. How much real estate does that person own in your head and in your heart as a result? You see, the more you invest in a relationship in times of uncertainty, discomfort, and difficulty, the greater and more meaningful that investment is. I will never forget when we had to bury my son. I'll never forget when he died in my arms. But the thing that I will never forget is actually the people that were with us, the people that walked with us, the people that grieved with us during that time. I don't really remember anything anyone said. I don't even remember anything anyone gave other than their presence and how they invested their time, their energy into us so that we knew that we weren't alone. They invested heavily at the dip, and they, more than really anyone else, has more real estate in my mind and my wife's mind and heart than anyone does. Number three, focus on the long game. Great investors don't make short-term plays, right? The value of relationships, just like wise investments, be it financial, real estate, or business, they compound over time. Being someone who has invested heavily in relationships for years, I can confidently say that they pay out dividends in ways that you can't even remotely predict, especially when you invest in the long term, when you invest in the dip or at the dip. And when you invest, because you know that relationships are the ultimate currency. In times like this, we can either choose to binge on Netflix or Hulu or YouTube, or we can focus our time and invest our time in building relationships. We can mindlessly scroll on Instagram and Facebook and social media, or we can reach out and make a meaningful connection with a friend that needs our support. Crew, we are all investors, and the currency at our disposal is time and energy. Don't waste this opportunity to invest heavily in this relationship economy.